getting myself confused here. It goes to show, my mind only goes one way because I believe in the do, be, have. And for some reason, I can't even reverse it in my mind, as simple as it is that. So the most important thing is to be. Yeah? This is what wealthy people know. The other word of it is for it as well. It's called faking it till you make it. Yeah, but there's truth in that. But there's a lot of negative connotations in that. Yeah, because if you're faking it, that implies what? Fraud. Yeah, that's not genuine. So it's kind of like you have to be that thing. You have to be that abundant person first before you can get rich. Yeah, or be successful in something. You're probably thinking, oh my God, Hoagie, like, how is that even possible? But think about it. This is why we say the rich get rich and the poor get poorer. Yeah, because obviously if you start out in abundance and wealth, then you're just being it. Yeah, and guess what happens? The universe gives you more. Yeah, so if you're poor and you're struggling, you have to find this place within yourself that is wealthy. Yeah, and the way you do that is by pulling up those weeds. Yeah, in your subconscious mind, irrespective of how broke you are or whatever. Yeah, irrespective, you can do that weeding. Yeah, so if your cash flow is very short or whatever, there's always something that we can do to advance ourselves to a place of prosperity. And it may take time. Remember, this stuff tends not to happen overnight. Manifestation doesn't happen overnight. Yeah? It's very much like a garden. A farmer does not sow beans in his field or her field yesterday and expect fully grown beans tomorrow. Yeah, that would just be ludicrous, wouldn't it? But so many of us tend to think in that way. Oh, I've done my vision board and blah blah blah. Oh, why isn't it coming? All this kind of stuff. And what happens? We get anxious and anxiety around wealth and what have you. And then we do what? We start sowing weeds into the garden, when actually, really, this has actually got a lot more to do with much more about sowing positive things. So saying things, for example, I am worthy. Yeah, I am abundant. But I don't mean that in kind of just looking in the mirror kind of way. I mean, that can be that, but truly weed out those weeds first. Disregard all of the negative talk, yeah, that you may have heard about wealth from your family or your friends or peers or work colleagues and stuff. You have to weed it all out, kind of like Mula Nakshatra, yeah, roots. You have to pull those things out of the roots, by the roots, because we know this: you cannot plant vegetables or wheat or rye or barley in a weed-ridden field. So you've got people who are trying to do manifestations of abundance, but they've still got all of their old programming in there. So yeah, there might be something that might manifest, but then you get two weeds that join with it as well. Yeah. So this really is about clear out. If we think the farming analogy is perfect, isn't it? You prepare the soil first. You prepare your subconscious first to be able to actually receive those positive thoughts, which means you've got to get rid of all of your negative programming first, all of it. That's why I said you've got to be ruthless with those negative beliefs and programming systems. Now, when it comes to people that challenge you and they have their fixed ideas about wealth, I'm not saying you need to cuss them out and blah, 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 and throw stones. Yeah. No, not at all. But what you do need to do is you do need to weed that internal garden and protect it. Yeah. You need to protect that walled garden. So when you hear people saying very negative things about money or one of the best ways to stay poor is to criticize other people that have money. Yeah, so many people don't know this. If you cuss out the rich and the wealthy, what are the chances that you think wealth is going to come knocking on your door? Yeah, when you're disrespecting wealth, nil. Yeah. Another thing as well that's very important to say, not to say, is don't say, and I used to do this, oh, money doesn't matter. Oh, money doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the money. Rubbish. Yeah, rubbish. We all need bills to pay. Yeah, we all need clothes on our body. Yeah, and we all need a nicer little tipple now and again. Yeah, we all need resources. Yeah, which are the sign of what? Taurus. We all need resources. So to say money doesn't matter is not true. Yeah. Just look at what is going on, particularly in the States, where people don't have enough money. Yeah, we need those things, the stimulus checks, people going to food banks and stuff. So no, don't say things like that. Money is very important, but like we say, we mustn't love it to the exclusion of everything else, but we must respect it. Now, this is why the wicked, many people that are wicked, and many, remember, there's lots of lovely rich people as well. But if we just look at that stereotype, that person's wicked, they do this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 and they're so rich, and this, that, and the other. If you play it, safe and straight, it doesn't work for you, etc., etc. Now, why is that? People that are drug dealers, yeah, people traffickers, and all of that horrible stuff, yeah, that goes on, and they're there exploiting people and doing some really shady stuff. But I tell you what they're not doing. One of the things they are not doing is disrespecting wealth. Yeah? Imagine wealth as a cat, yeah? Or as a muse, yeah? So much about wealth is seduction. Now, I'm not saying go into people trafficking and stuff like that. Of course not. And I don't endorse those things. Those things are terrible. What I'm talking about is the attitude. Yeah, the attitude towards the wealth. Remember I said it's like a garden. It must be cultivated. Yes, it must be cultivated. And this is where I talk about vehicles. Yeah, vehicles. Venus. We need to also talk about Venus. Venus is the planet of wealth, luxury, abundance, fecundity, the good life, the wine, the crystal, music, art. Yeah, all of these things. This is Venus. And this is why the condition of Venus is important in a chart. Because when Venus is damaged in a person's chart, maybe, because, this lifetime there's some karma that they needed to learn, they will find that wealth is tricky to come by. Now, why is that? Venus has got a lot to do with maintenance. Venus gives us the power to do the maintenance required to have the wealth that we want. Or, Venus is also what? Trade and relationships. So again, it comes about looking after people, trade, yeah, and consumption. The movement of goods and services, values. Yeah, this is a big thing. We see that again in the States. Pluto, planet of explosion, going into the dark night of the soul, is in the second house of the USA chart, which is about resources, values, but Pluto's also about transformation. Yeah, Pluto also deals with big money as well, but also big debts. So it's better to rely on Venus overall. So Venus, her masculine expression is Libra, which is the marketplace. The feminine expression is Taurus, which is what? Food, nourishment, fecundity, the land, farming, family, all of these kind of things. Yeah, that's Venus. Let's have a little slurp. So what happens is when a person's Venus is strong, let's say she's in her own sign of Libra or in Taurus, or possibly exalted in Pisces. But essentially when she's not debilitated, she's debilitated in the sign of Virgo. Now, what that does is, now there's many advantages to that, because Virgo belongs to Mercury, which is her best friend. So it's great for design and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that everyone who's got Virgo debilitated is necessarily poor or struggling with money, but it does often happen, because it goes back to that garden concept. Wealth is about maintenance. Wealth is about vehicles. And what I mean by vehicles, Venus rules vehicles, but I don't also mean literal vehicles. I mean intellectual ones as well. We need to build receptacles to receive wealth. Yeah? And the more receptacles to receive wealth that you have, the wealthier you will be. Wealthy people understand this, and the long and short of it, the shorthand of it is multiple streams of income. Yeah, we've all heard that one before, and everyone's like, oh God, yeah, how are we going to do that? You know, I've got my job and blah, blah, blah. Yes, most of us have one job, or until recently, because of COVID, not a job at all. And if you're lucky, you've got some furlough, yeah? But in terms of true abundance is about having multiples. So first of all, straight away, and this is what everyone has been thinking about, obviously since COVID, is, and we've been indoors, finding other ways to earn money. Yeah, so entrepreneurship. This is why Venus is associated with entrepreneurs as well, along with Mercury, a best friend. So this is a lot of things to do. So you need to look at your talents and look at how you can actually monetize yourself. What skills and knowledge do you have that you can share with others, and maybe be paid for that knowledge that you have? Also as well, doing things with charity as well, working for a soup kitchen or something like that, where you are feeding others. That also helps. You know, another thing that really works? Feeding nature. Yeah. Feeding the birds. I swear by this one. I always give my waste fruit and whatever on my windowsill, and the crows come down. You know, you can always hear the crows in my videos. They come down and have a munch. And then I've got a bird seed feeder for the little birds that, you know, the big crows scare them, but for the little birds, you know, like the goldfinches or blue tits, etc., stuff like that. And I feed them as well. And that also really helps, because one is what? Giving. When you have enough to give, the universe is like, oh, this person's got enough to give and they're helping others. Let me give them some more resources. Yeah. It's not always necessarily about giving money. Giving money helps as well, but it's about being generous in ways that you can afford. I mean, if you're struggling to pay the bills, don't give your last paycheck, of course, to someone, whatever, because you have to look after yourself as well. And it's going back into that subconscious as well. And Venus is also about relaxation. But another weed that must be pulled up, and this is a very common one, the fear of success. Yeah, and I say that again, and this is not often talked about, particularly when it comes to manifestation. Yeah, because they're like, oh, just write it down and it's going to happen. No. If you fear success, how can success come into your life? How can it come in? Yeah. So let's examine that a little bit. The fear of success. How does that manifest? This is more common. Believe it or not, the fear of success is more common than not believing that you can actually do it. Yeah. So what are some of the things that people say to themselves? So if I'm rich, people will hate on me. Yeah. That in some ways it's not an irrational fear. Yeah. Because like I said, there's plenty of people that are cussing out the rich. Yeah. And sometimes actually for good reason. If they're doing it in a wicked way, and you know, the money's only going in one direction. Yes. But there is a difference between observing inequality and calling out inequality and hating on people that have the money. Yeah. Or who have wealth or abundance. And this is one of the biggest reasons why people fear success, because they are worried what will happen in terms of their family, how people will relate to them, but also as well their friends, because they're worried about being shunned, because they're also worried that if I become successful, people are going to treat me differently. Yeah? Now, is that true? Yes, it is. It is true. But if you want to be wealthy and successful and abundant, you have to do it anyway. You can't worry too much about what people think about you. Yeah? Because in order to be successful, there are many things that one needs to do. Like I said, going back to that garden analogy, you need to plant a lot of fruit and vegetables. Yeah, you're going to have to, get some side hustle income going, looking at your value. How can I provide value for others? And that means going out of your comfort zone. And when you start to go out of your comfort zone, those that are nearest around you start feeling uncomfortable. Yeah, because you're doing stuff that they're not doing. And they say, well, you've got enough to get by. Why do you need to do this, that, and the other? Yeah, common one. Or one's partner might be like, oh, you don't need to do that. Or, we've got enough. We're doing okay. Yeah, heard that one before. Or even sometimes the partner or family can actually shoot down your ideas, because guess what? Wealth and abundance has got so much to do with creativity. Yeah, going back to the Empress, fecundity. This is also being pregnant with ideas and then acting upon them. Yeah, sowing those seeds. So what you need to accept, rather than being like, oh, if I'm wealthy, my friends and family are going to change their attitude to me. Yes, they will. The reason why is because human beings are programmed to recognize status more than anything else, even before wealth, status. And people can change when your status changes. Now, obviously, the good friends and family won't mind, and they'll be glad that you have your success. But there will be some that will kind of feel awkward about it. But guess what? That's their problem, not yours. That means they need to address the areas of lack within themselves. Yeah, because if they're feeling bad about your success or feeling ashamed or less than because you've stepped up a few levels, that's their problem, not yours. Yeah, because it's about energy. We need to be prepared to receive the gift as well as giving it out. And you need to accept that when you become wealthy or successful, the attitudes of the people around you will change. They won't be able to help it because your status would have changed. Now, of course, how that manifests depends on the degrees. I mean, of course, if you're going around boasting about your success and whatever, obviously that's going to rub people up the wrong way, and I certainly don't recommend that. Another slurp. However, you must have that pride and that joy within yourself, in that garden growing, yeah? In your orchard. You need to create an orchard. It takes a while for the trees to grow, but then when they start giving the fruit, it comes in abundance, doesn't it? So those again, or like these analogies that I'm using, orchards, fecundity, fruit, vegetables, vehicles. Yeah, this is all Venus. Let's see if I've missed anything. So once as well that you start becoming more bountiful, yeah, once you've sorted, you've got all the weeds out and you started to plant good stuff. There's an element of patience, relaxation, and letting go. Yeah, have you ever heard there's a saying which is called the watched pot never boils? Yeah, don't worry about it. Once you've done the work and you've created stuff, don't worry about it agonizing like, oh, I've put all this effort into this thing and it's not giving me my return yet. Guess what? That's just going to strangle off anything. Like I said, the seeds germinate in the night. Yeah, underground. Just because you don't see the green shoot yet doesn't mean it's not happening. The roots go out first. Yeah, takes a little bit of time, takes a while. Sometimes a seed or whatever that you've planted doesn't ripen or start to bear fruit until a year or so later. Yeah, when I think about one of my vehicles, what is a vehicle is a website. Let's just say for an obvious one, I built my website 2 years ago. Yeah, years ago. It took ages. No one was asking me for anything. I just quietly just did it. Yeah, and it could mean just paying someone else to do the website, whatever, but it was a vehicle. Yeah. So one needs to create these vehicles, yeah, these different modalities of providing. Now with the vehicle, it's not just about taking, yeah. This is a vehicle of value. Wealth and abundance is about bringing forth value into the world, bringing your inner wealth outside of yourself. Yeah, that's part of that manifestation, and sharing that with people, but at the same time not giving it away either. Free stuff has its place, yeah, like I said, where there's that element of charity, but we can't live on fresh air. So if we're putting things out there for people to buy, they must be nutritious, like vegetables or fruits. Yeah, it's like a marketplace. Yeah, we think of Amazon online. People are putting their virtual fruits or sometimes their real food out there for people to buy. But what makes a person consume or buy something is because it's got good value. Yeah, it's worth the money, whatever it is. So this also means as well, not overpricing or underpricing. Yeah. The symbol for Libra, which belongs to Venus, is the scales. Yeah, the scales. Let me just do a quick illustration, even though I've already done it on a piece of paper somewhere else. I can't remember where it is. So if we look at Libra here, Libra belonging to Venus, the sign of change. We look here, yeah, it's like this. This also represents the sunset, by the way. It represents the scales of justice, but it also represents the marketplace, yeah? So we need to put value out into the world to get value back. So again, it's about the exchange, creating value, and understanding that if you're creating things of value and you create those things at the right price, then you will get people that will buy it and share, and then you can consume what they have. Another thing as well is buying and selling with friends. Yeah, you pay for a service for a friend. Yeah, and that friend then pays for a service for you. For example, it's this back and forth. It's all about that circulation, and then you save some of that as well. So wealth, of course, is also about saving, but you don't have to save all of it. Save a percentage of it. How much you can afford to save, of course, depends on from person to person. But it's a combination, like I said, of saving money, charity, doing charitable goods, building other people up, and also spending as well. So let me just see, and also as well, this is why it's very important as well for women to have wealth. Now, it's not that men don't share their wealth, but women tend to share much more of their wealth than men. Yeah? Women will spend and consume, but they will also spend on their families and their communities. This is why female entrepreneurship is so important. And there are some cultures where women are the main tradespeople. Yeah, I think there's an element of that in Africa to an extent, but I've not dug enough into it to give affirmative examples. But let's just say that as well. Cultures where women are able to buy and sell and trade are always wealthier. Always, yeah, because women hold the archetype for wealth, the manifestation of wealth. Think of how many women have small businesses, for example, and if we look at the COVID, who's been most affected disproportionately? Women. Yeah, and that's not good as well. That's why some of these structures have to be broken down, because if women suffer and feel poor, then the whole nation does. Yeah. And then what we just have a few elites, yeah, kind of rubbing their hands, yeah. This is why the divine feminine is coming back. So it's also recognizing that power and not being afraid of it. And it's also as well about maintenance. So let's go here onto my last page. Here we are. This is why it's good to write notes. Nearly there. A big part of wealth as well, being able to create wealth or making that soil fertile. Yeah, because if you've done all the weeding but the soil is still barren, nothing will grow. And this is a very important one. Forgiveness. Once again, forgiveness. One of the best ways to de-weed, declutter, and uproot deprogramming is forgiveness. Yeah? If you can find it in your heart to forgive those people that may have wronged you or hurt you in some way and just no longer let that weed be there, in a way, forgiveness is weed killer. Yeah, and I say that again, forgiveness is weed killer. When you sprinkle forgiveness on the weeds in your garden, guess what? They wither and die, and it feeds that soil. Also as well, we also need to look at envy, jealousy, resentment, and rage. Yeah? These are some of the biggest blockers as well. That just sprinkles poison everywhere. Yeah? Now, sometimes there's justified anger, yeah? But anger is like a tool that we need to use in the moment, at the right time, for the right, correct duration, which is a very difficult thing to do. Because things like rage and resentment and jealousy and envy, they must metastasize, yeah? They become cancerous, yeah, if they're left there, and it poisons the soul. You can't be abundant if you're jealous of everybody else. It doesn't work that way. Guess what? Wealth will come to your door and go, there's a bad smell in here. I'm going off. I'm going next door, yeah? Because you can't have that envy or that jealousy or that resentment, yeah? Because what it does is it toxifies. So if we think, for example, with, say, like on the negative side of money, say like drugs barons and stuff like that, going around killing, everyone, that's not good. Toxifies everything, yeah? That's why people are fleeing their countries that they live in, yeah? Because you can't have wealth and abundance in that kind of environment. It toxifies everything. So that's why it's so important to do this uprooting, and forgiveness is one of the best things of that. Another one as well is wounds. Letting go of wounds. Trying your best to let go of wounds. Every wound is a weed in your garden. Yeah? Say that again. Every wound is a weed. This is why we've got to pull them out and just chuck them out if we can. And that, of course, forgiveness has a part of that. Now, obviously, it depends how deep the wound is. I just don't want to make light of wounds. Some wounds take a long time to heal. So I'm not just saying just chuck something out that's not been processed. But at the same time, we can't hold on to these things because they are blockers as well. It does block. Wealth is like a cat. Yeah, the cat needs to come through the cat flap and sit in your lap. Yeah, and you stroke the cat. Yeah, you maintain it and you give it food or whatever. But the second you neglect a cat, what happens? It's off. Like, I'm staying around here. There's no food around here. Yeah, that's why cats, in terms of the north node of the moon, which is Rahu, which is gobble gobble, wealth and abundance. Yeah, Rahu is cats. Ketu is dogs. Dogs can help with wealth as well because they can help keep us calm. But we need to understand that analogy. There is a fickle element there. The reason why people with wealth yogas in their charts have a lot of wealth is because on a subconscious level, they instinctively gravitate to doing the right things. Yeah, because their wealth planets are strong. When you've got a strong Venus, it's easier to forgive. Yeah. It's easier to forgive. And of course, if you're forgiving, at the same time not being a doormat, but if you're forgiving, you're sprinkling what? Weed killer on the garden. Yeah, so then the good ideas that you have more of a chance of coming to fruition. Yeah. So also as well, another one is be mindful of one's speech. Yeah. Not only what you think, but also what you say. What comes out of your mouth has a value. And they say that Lakshmi, goddess of wealth, is always listening. Yeah. So if we're constantly cussing and cussing out people, criticizing, yeah, all the time, or self-criticizing, you know what happens? The shoots come up. You start to snip them off, yeah, so they don't grow high enough. Yeah, you might get some little bits and pieces, but you won't get the bush or the tree. Yeah. So we need to be careful with our language. Yeah, what we think about ourselves, about other people, and what we say as well in particular. Because when we injure people with our words and we diminish others, we're actually diminishing ourselves as well. And weeds start to grow in the garden. Now, I'm not saying that, you can't ever cuss anyone out. That's not true, because sometimes people need to be told, or one needs to say it, or whatever it is. There's nothing like then letting rip with a good few volleys of cussing. Yeah, we all need that from time to time, but we can't have it on our lips all the time. Yeah, it's like having acid come out of your mouth. Yeah, it's very corrosive, so we must be careful of that. And just go through the last few points. Look after your home. Do your best to keep it tidy. Clutter is poverty. Yeah, it's the energy of Saturn, yeah, and a lower vibration. Now, I'm not saying you have to absolutely throw everything out, but try and keep mess to a minimum, yeah? Lakshmi and the goddesses of abundance and wealth and stuff, they like the place to be tidy as possible, and value and give thanks as well. Beautify your home, put up paintings if you can, or just, photographs of family and stuff like that, which is what most people do, but try and keep things tidy. Also as well, avoid wearing clothes that have holes in them, yeah? That's Ketu energy, yeah? Who's about moksha, separation from this world, yeah? Too many holes in clothes. You can repair things and love something that's old, yeah? Or have antiques and stuff like that, but try not to wear things that have got holes in them. Yeah. I've talked about vehicles. Also as well, remember to say thank you. One of the biggest seed planters, yeah, in your subconscious is gratitude and thanks, but not in a superficial way. Genuinely, I saw someone, there was this guy rushing to get onto the tube doors were about to close. There was another guy with his son, and the guy held the doors open so this guy and his son could get on. Yeah, and I knew straight off the bat that the guy that was with his son was struggling for money, yeah, and was dealing with a lot of resentment. How do I know that? Because he didn't say thank you. Yeah? How can you not thank someone who's taken their time to hold the doors open for you and your child, so you can get on the transport, yeah, and go on your merry way on time? That is a poverty mindset. Yeah, so say thank you for everything. Yeah, thank you for everything. When you go to the shop, smile, say thank you. How are you doing? How was your day? Or anything. Even if that person doesn't respond in kind, it doesn't matter. Whenever you say thank you, you bless a person. Yeah? And when you bless others, and when you compliment others, and when you empower others, guess what? You become abundant. And the universe starts to look at you and starts to go, that person's rich. Yeah? Because when we're hoarding, we hold on, and we don't want to empower others, because sometimes people fear, as Caroline Mace would say, that that person will outdo them if they give that compliment, if they give that praise. And I'm not saying going around give false compliments, but give genuine compliments. When someone is talented, tell them. If someone has done something nice for you, let them know. If someone is wearing a nice top or whatever, or smells good, tell them. Yeah, this Venus is also as well smelling good as well. Wear a good scent if you can. Burn incense. That is a big thing. So remember that as well. Paying compliments, receiving compliments. When someone pays you a compliment, say thank you. Yeah? Because when you do that, you bless yourself. Yeah? You receive the blessing. There's so many people that they get paid a compliment and they shrug it off. Yeah? Guess what? I bet there's only a few pounds rattling around in that bank account. They're probably wondering why. Yeah? Because it's about sharing and receiving blessings. Yeah? We all know how it feels when someone says something shitty to us, yeah? You feel what? You feel poor, yeah? You feel something's been taken away from you. But just think how good it feels when someone pays us a genuine compliment and we say thank you, yeah? You receive that, it boosts your aura. So be a person that gives thanks. Also as well, when you're at home, even if you're not religious or anything, or, spiritual, just say thank you for being alive. The simplest things, I say thank you every night. I'm just like, thank you. I have a roof over my head, means, abundance, what have you. It really does help. And again, just to reiterate, create value for not only for yourself, but for others. Yeah, go out and create value in the world. And again, it's about things like gratitude and all of those things, like I said, uprooting those negative weeds that I spoke about earlier and stepping into abundance, like the Empress, but also as well doing your inner work. Yeah, the High Priestess. This is the one that's doing the weeding. Yeah, looking at your beliefs and practices, prayers and thoughts. Yeah, mantras, the power of language and thoughts and beliefs. Yeah, this is a hidden power, which is the Empress, and this is what a lot of wealthy people know and understand and do, and that's not common for the rest of the world. So I hope that was helpful for you. I didn't want this video to be too long. Hopefully I'm under an hour. I'll have to check. So if you would like a consultation with me, my dates are open for April and May and so on and so forth, which is great. People have been booking. That's wonderful. I've got wealth consultations as well, where we can look at wealth combinations and planets or beliefs that you have that may be holding you back as well. So look through those when you have time. And thanks so much again. And I hope that was useful for you guys. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you. Hey guys, I just, oh God, my nose is tickling. I just remembered something important as well, because of course this also was about integrating the shadow. So again, going back to the analogy of the garden, also as well, understand this is also about integrating your shadow into your life, where when you recognize the dark parts of yourself, where you accept those dark parts of yourself and you integrate them, you make peace with them. Now, never let your shadow control you. This is about making peace. So recognize those parts in yourself that may be jealous or envious or harsh or has these negative belief systems and stuff. Yeah, look at that, meet that person, go there in your dreams, do a visualization where you go into a castle and you go down into the dungeons, yeah, and you see who's chained up in there. Find yourself in there and let them out. Yeah, have that conversation and have that gentleman's agreement or gentlewoman's agreement. Yeah. And then that shadow as well will also step out of the way and help you with your manifestation, because once your shadow is integrated, you've got a lot more control over your subconscious. You're able to do your weeding and stop people throwing weeds into your garden. Yeah, that's the biggest defense. So I just wanted to kind of mention that as well. This is also about integrating the shadow, not being afraid of the shadow, not just thinking that you're all light. None of us are. Yeah, it's a blend. But when we incorporate those things, what it does is it actually makes your light brighter. And it also, as well, it's like an inoculation, a vaccine against mind viruses. Yeah, or spiritual viruses or energetic viruses or what have you. When you integrate and make peace with your shadow, and your shadow is no longer in the way and becomes your companion and can actually help you, the biggest advantage is that it gives you tremendous power and it gives you discernment, the ability to recognize when someone is trying to also pull one over on you. Yeah. And it also allows you to be honest with yourself, which is the most important thing. Being truthful and honest in your internal world. Yeah. The shadow is so important. So again, that's like pulling out the high priestess. Yeah. That internal shadow, that internal dialogue is one of the most important things when it comes to manifestation. Right, there we are. Enough for me. So I just thought I had that little bit on. Thanks so much for watching. Please comment below. And of course, please like and share as well with others. So thanks so